It's your birthday, happy belated birthday ifs in the past, happy future birthday ifs in the future. My name is Limed Green. Welcome to part 2 of I've watched every single video game movie in existence. Now I'm going to put them in a tier list. Can you believe that? Can you believe? Okay, I'm gonna flex on you a little bit here. I think I am the only person on Earth who's ever done this, and that's like a real fact. Let's jump into the rules, and let me explain to you how I'm doing this. And yes, there are rules. So the rules, they've changed a little bit since part 1, because I've gotten a little smarter. Rule 1, only live action video game movies. We're going to talk a little bit about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's an animated movie, but we're going to be talking about it just because it came out recently, and that's a big deal. We're not going to be putting it in the tier list, by the way. Don't worry. No movies inspired by games. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Spy Kids 3, blah, blah, blah. We're condensing it, Only video games that are one-to-one with their counterparts. No movies retelling gaming events. I don't want to hear about a movie that's like, oh man, I had a Game Boy during this crazy event. That's... No movies that are just short spliced together. So I watched all of Halo Nightfall. You want my opinion? It's like an alright kind of movie. Then I was moving on to Halo 4 Unto Dawn. If you want my opinion on that, I only saw a little bit of it, but what I saw was dramatically better than Nightfall. And I'm not a Halo player, but, that's my opinions. But that's when I figured out, these are just shorts spliced together into a movie. And I didn't really know how to feel about that. I was like, it's not my cup of tea. I felt kind of swindled, bamboozled, smeckledorfed. So I added this clause, Sanur clause. Also, with the addition of this, it takes out Zombrex Dead Rising, which, was made by Keiji Inafune, the Mega Man guy. I was kind of looking forward to seeing how that would be, but, that takes it out. No movies that divert entirely in name and likeness. That's only one movie, which is Dead and Deader. It's either House of the Dead 3 or Alone in the Dark 3, which was originally going to be one of those, and then they kept changing it, and then they're like, this is actually not even related to the video game in question, and then they called it something different. So if it's not even remotely, even the people making it know it's not related to the video game, it's going in this category. And then lastly, visual novels count. So in the first part, I was like, whoa, visual novels? I forgot all about visual novels. And in this part, I discovered visual novels. Also, I included them because I thought it would be funny if Higurashi was in this tier list, because apparently there's 2 Higurashi movies, and I thought it would be funny if Higurashi was next to Mario or something like that. I'm just quirky like that. Okay, rule 2, finally on to the second one. I'm going to try and take all consideration. I'm trying to take into consideration all points of contention. So this isn't just my tier list, it's like everyone's tier list, right? Even if I really love a movie, if it has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's going somewhere in the middle, My thoughts on a movie can only change it so much. Music's from Mario Galaxy, and also I'm not a film critic, so don't get your jimmies all wrestled. So this is from part 1. Wowee. This is for movies that have changed the entire landscape of video game movies, and these are like clearly flawed movies, not bad movies, but like movies that are like flawed at their core. Now, I promise you we'll talk about Super Mario Galaxy, the movie. Again, the critics, they did not like it. The fans, they're more so split. More so than the first movie. And my thoughts on it were more so, I thought it was good. I still don't get why people say the Mario movies don't have a story. This has a story, but I just don't like what it does. Like, it kind of retcons all of Rosalina and Peach's lore, and like Rosalina had lore, right? And Rosalina has appeared beside Peach for like 20 years, right? Why has there not been a mention of, you know, I don't want to say it, but of her whole thing in the movie up until this movie? It just felt like something they added for the movie. I would add it here in the Charizard tier, just with everyone's thoughts, my thoughts. I feel like it's a good movie, good watch through, but it needed, I don't know what it needed, honestly. Now, normally I do things in reverse order, but this time I watch a lot of like trilogies and like duologies, so we're going just like straight down the line here. Starting with a trilogy I watched. Tomb Raider 2011, Lara Croft. So it starts with Laura in a tomb, just raiding it. And honestly, I was trying to play the Tomb Raider 1, the original game, alongside this. So suddenly a robot comes out. No, also I'm reading my notes like word for word. So that's why I might seem off. And they begin to fight. A bit weird when Laura doesn't say anything. Doesn't even say anything until like 5 minutes in. I get it's building up atmosphere, but really nothing. Turns out that was a test. The part where Laura shows up to the auction with sunglasses on and begins to outbid people is funny. And then someone says, "You're the Tomb Raider?" Here's a Space Invaders cameo. The coolness factor, riding a motorcycle and shooting a gun. Laura's dad is giving her 2 pieces of a sacred icon, which is just Double Dragon, which came out 7 years before. There's Double Dragon. And the Triangle of Light controlling time is kind of wild, though. The Illuminati are in this movie. My note says the Illuma-Wuddy. And then someone says, "Enough of this twaddle." I thought the first Tomb Raider was like okay. To be honest, I wasn't like a big fan of it, honestly. But I know it has its fans. I'm putting it Metroid tier. Kind of like split the difference. Put that there. What's it called? Lara Croft Tomb Raider? Yeah, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Oops. And then we put this. Put this like right. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of Metroid tiers. Okay. So move on to the next one. Next one is the next Tomb Raider. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life 2003. So I really like the opening, how the logos disappear into the water. This will be the greatest discovery since the pyramids. Aren't the pyramids like out in the open. They find what they're looking for like 10 minutes in, a good mix-up. And I said, I'm a sucker for stuff with lots of water, and this whole ruins collapsing scene is pretty cool. Random shark. I said, alright, come on guys, wrap it up. And then I said, is what I was going to say until Laura just punches a shark, which is crazy. The backstory with the Cradle of Life is really cool too. There's a fight around terracotta soldiers. There's a scene with SpongeBob and they're watching the firmly grasp it part. Turns out the Cradle of Life is in Africa, and there's Shadow Guardians. I thought the Shadow Guardian scene was pretty good. Laura putting the orb in the slot was the most video game thing ever. Somehow after Laura put the orb in the movie, the movie went black for like 10 minutes, and she was parachuting down into a Jeep, driving away like she saved the Cradle of Life off screen. Ha 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 ha. I really love the whole Cradle of Life being surrounded by like the black acid. You just know who the bad guy was going in. And then I said kind of symbolic grabbing the Cradle of Life with a gun. When the bad guy goes in, it's like he's becoming Venom. Holy. And the bad guy just wanted to sell the Cradle of Life. Like, where do you sell that at, man? I said, or what I'm thinking is, people also kind of like this movie. And I thought it was better than the last one. So I'm like trying to figure out what I'm doing with like future movies at the same time. I guess I'm doing this. Because this was a good movie. I felt a lot more entertained all the way through. Look at that title. And there was definitely a lot going on. It felt very too... Also, I didn't make it far in the video game. Like, I had to drop it. But I'm going back to it eventually. Next up, House of the Dead 2. Dead Aim. Which is a name that sometimes they call it. I don't have a lot of notes for this, thankfully. I said the intro is a good mix-up. They say, "You left me alone in the dark." It genuinely made me look if I switched up the two. And then, all I remember is like, I just like... Oh yeah. Is this that movie? Hold on, hold on, I'm getting Alone in the Dark and... Wait, what? Hold on, I'm getting Alone in the Dark 2, which is another one. What happens in House of the Dead 2? Do I not have my notes for House of the Dead 2? Is this it? No. Is this it? No. Is this it? No. Where's my notes for House of the Dead 2? I think I remember which one, because... Alright, so... What I recall of House of the Dead 2, for some reason I stopped taking notes. It's funny, but it's also, like, not too crazy. It's like, all it's got going for it is funniness. And you can see how House of the Dead is like really high. You know, compared to like what some people have rated it. I rated House of the Dead 1 because really high because I was like, it's got images of the game, right? It's got House, and it's got like a whole cast of characters. House of the Dead 2 has also House of the Dead 1, pretty funny. House of the Dead 2, it has the funniness, but it has a lot of the military. I'm not sure. Like, it has like moments where it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, but this has got to be an Octorok, because it's like a funny movie doesn't really, and it's not all that funny either. It's not like hoo hoo ha ha, you know. It's just like just some couple jabs in there. So there's House of the Dead 2. Next up, this trilogy like almost made me like quit. Well, not quit it, but made me put down watching video game movies and like watch actual movies. So Blood Rain, this released on my birthday. Wowee! I had never heard of this game series before. The game series, I'll admit, look pretty cool. I might even check out one of the games if they ever make a physical collection or something. The actress that plays Rain is pretty good, and pretty much everyone else just sounds kind of flat and monotone. Rain just is like a carny in the circus, like Dumbo, and they're showing off she's a dampier by putting her hands in water and cutting her and feeding her goat's blood. Like, how is this a show? At least they got her swords right. Also, I try and like rate these by like you know, how well they represent their original games. Again, House of the Dead 2 didn't even have like the game like cutaways like House of the Dead original. Like, come on, what are you doing, House of the Dead? But Blood Rain at least got their swords right. There's like a saw blade scene. A 5-minute scene that just goes on and on with people stabbing other people and clashing swords. During the final fight, one of Kagan, the big bad's attacks, is to take a sword and just walk into people. The guy gets his head hacked off, and there's this slow-mo scene that's almost more like a low FPS scene. And I said the best parts were the circus and the Brimstone Society. Blood Rain, the original, it's not here. I guess this is another Octorok. It captures, let me just say, Blood Rain, the series, it's like you're half vampire, half human, you're a Dampier, and you're like fighting Nazis. And that's like the cool thing. You know, fighting fascism as a vampire. Well, part vampire. But, you know, this is like, it's kinda, it just felt like all those dark movies, you know? Dark in both aspects of the word, you know? Like, I get why it needs to be that. It has very mature, I'll say, tones, and plot, but it really didn't feel compelling. Now let's talk about Blood Rain 2 Deliverance. You'll quickly find that this is a Western cowboy vampire movie, which is it takes place in a town called Deliverance. Blood Rain 2 Deliverance. Rain needs blood at one part, and this guy gives her blood. His blood just looks like ketchup, and she goes wild, like trying to bite this guy. And the best character is the reporter, hands down. This is a hot take. I know it is. I think Blood Rain 2 Deliverance, it's a crazy premise for a movie, but I love how crazy they went with it. I'm putting it, I think this is as far as I can go with it. Blood Rain 2. And you don't even see Rain until, like, I want to say like 10 minutes in, which I feel like is a good mix-up. Kind of setting up the villain, who is Billy the Kid. Now the third Blood Rain movie, that's a whole different story. We'll get there in a second. But now we're talking about Hitman 2007. These two kids are playing Hitman, and 47 just bursts through their window. They turn around, and he's just standing there, and they don't do anything. That's a crazy scene. 47's bald head is also kind of weird. I feel like the actor's too expressive, and 47's kind of emotionless. This is more actiony than I would have expected. I guess I liked this three-way fight where all three of them are pointing guns. 47's gun is pretty nice looking. A funny part, he lets the lady out of the trunk and he says, "Don't be dramatic. I bought you breakfast." Like nearly an hour in and we get a Hitman-esque scene, but it was good, but not long. And then he puts a guy in a saw-like bathtub death trap with a countdown and everything. I don't know. I guess for this movie I could have wanted mind games and one side outwitting the other. Again, this movie was kind of actiony. I felt like it was kind of weird to have 47 like almost have like a love interest. I felt like he's kind of like almost married to his job in a way, kind of like Black Widow. So I know people also don't like this one. We shall put this. Do we put this here? I guess put it here. This is filling up quickly. Okay, now let's talk about the next one. Postal. The movie I kept forgetting existed until I had to do this. First off, J.K. Simmons is in this, which I was like, what the... The guy playing the Postal Dude does not look like the Postal Dude at all, and he's gonna have to go through a whole lot of transformation. And then I said, he eventually does put on sunglasses towards the end, and he looks pretty good as the Postal Dude, but he kept taking them off. I would argue they left out the most iconic feature of, putting out the fires by peeing on them, and then pretty faithful to the tone of the games. If you want to know the tone of the games, there's a scene with, this is towards the end of the movie, if you want to know. It ends with Osama bin Laden and George Bush just holding hands and skipping in a field of flowers with just nuclear missiles just exploding all around them. It's a wild scene, wild movie. But like I said, Postal is a wild game in its series. And I know this has like both its lovers and people are like, I ain't too crazy about it. So I think it's very faithful. So I'm actually putting it up in Charizard tier, even though it has like it's very not what's a good word for it? It challenges the norm? I don't know. It's very not... You wouldn't watch this with like everyone you know and be like, hey, your grandma wouldn't be watching this. This ain't your grandma's Postal. Alone in the Dark 2, the one I was alluding before, Danny Trejo is in Alone in the Dark 2. There's a scene where it goes, "You've been stabbed. I need a phone." And then another scene where it's like, "Whatever ever happens, don't you ever look into the mirror of your dreams. When this happens, Boyle will shoot you. Welcome to my house." And then they go, "She's materializing during the day. Where's my gun?" And then it ends with like, there's a dagger, and then they like stab someone with a dagger, and then they have to like stab them. I had Alone in the Dark 2 is... I thought the original Alone in the Dark was like... I was watching it, but I was like zoned out. But I thought this was better. I thought House of the Dead dropped down, and I thought Alone in the Dark 2 was better. Like, there was stuff going on in Alone in the Dark 2, and there was nothing going on in Alone in the Dark. I felt like I was alone in the dark watching it. Tekken. I liked the settings of corporations taking over everything, like a Hunger Games Double Dragon movie world. Also, that's not at all what happens in the games. Heihachi looks like Heihachi, but right now he doesn't look like he can do anything crazy. Every single fight, the camera changes. Every 4 seconds. It felt like this movie was salvaged from a wood chipper. Kazuya is Heihachi's son, and Jin's dad is kind of crazy. I didn't realize that after going in. Yoshimitsu, why can't I say that? Looks kind of off. Kazuya looks kind of off. The ability to bring weapons into the fights is cool, but I felt like it didn't matter much because if you had a weapon, your opponent would also get one, kind of like Yoshimitsu. Or someone like Yoshimitsu wouldn't stand out as much. And then I said Kazuya using axes seems goofy, since he's supposed to be a skilled martial artist with a devil gene, and he didn't even use it. Again, I liked the aesthetic of Tekken. But I really don't want to put it in Goomba tier. So I guess Octorok. And I know the creator even has been like, hey, I don't like their movie. Blood Rain, the Third Reich. I like her hair. Is one of the notes. I also wrote, it's very gray. The scientist is like, you want me to study a vampire? Those are just normal things. The subtitles were so slow in this movie. The main plot is essentially capture Rain and then use the Dampier blood to give Hitler eternal life. Eventually, they capture her and, like, whispers her lines. And she's like, they beat you up, but Rain, come on, grab a mic. Then this commander just drinks the blood intended for Hitler, and then he starts talking in a spooky voice, and then he's power incarnate, and Rain just hits him with a rock and smashes his head in with a random rock. Blood Rain 3 goes here. Again, I liked, like, each... Hold on, how you... Is it... Okay. I liked how each movie was, like, a different time period, right? And then they had plans for a fourth one, which was, like, a mob boss. That sounds like I would really like that. Like, I'm all about that type of idea because, Rain, she can, like, live forever. She's a vampire, so you can, like, put her in any scenario. I feel like that's really an idea they should have explored more if they weren't just gonna throw her into more gray and dark movies. Tekken 2, the fight scenes were a million times better. Holy... Would have been a lot better with Jin losing his member instead of Kazuya. That way you could actually do a sequel, and Kazuya wouldn't feel out of character. Lots of walking around. It ends with Heihachi saying, Tekken. Also, no way are you telling me that this is in the same universe as Tekken 1, the movie? Because no way are you telling me all these corporations, got built up in Kazuya's lifespan. And he still looks that young. I don't think you will be that mad at me if I put that there. Hitman 47. 47's voice is good, and he looks pretty perfect. But he needs... another shave on his head. I can see the shadowing of his hair pattern. And then I saw him at a different scene, and it looks like he just got a buzz cut, bro. The fight on the subway was pretty good. And I said, it looks like he's not a peak human. It looks like how you would portray vampires. Very interesting twist, not focusing on 47. I said, funny moment. When he goes through the metal detector and everyone just sees the weapons in his briefcase and they say, hands in the air! And he reveals he has more. There's the Wilhelm scream in this. The main girl turns out to be Agent 90. 47 being a mentor figure is extremely well done. We're determined by what we are. What we are by what we do. Thought that was a good quote. Still over the top with the action. I still think a Hitman movie would do better with a super smart villain organization. But the scene where the guy catches 47's bullets as he's shooting them at him is so cool. And there's a post-credit scene where the bad guy is revealed to still be alive. Yeah. It's not crazy. I don't love it as much as the... I think I love it like the same level as the original. Tomb Raider, 2018. Really interesting having Laura start off not super rich, but the twist is she is really rich, and that's well done. 15 minutes in, she's solving her first puzzle, and this is feeling like a national treasure meets Uncharted. And the super virus and the supernatural aspect was really neat. And they tease Laura getting the dual pistols at the end while using the bow and arrow all movie. I'll be frank with you. Tomb Raider, I really liked. I thought that was the best Tomb Raider movie. But, you know, this one's like going up as like the fans' favorite. And oh, we got two more. FNAF 2. Still very faithful to the games. You know me, I love the water, I love the boat ride. Was awesome. The Ghost Trackers Marionette became one of my faves. FNAF adults continue to be incompetent. Fast Fest was a cool nod to Fall Fest. Cool lead into FNAF 3. Circus Baby, couple nitpicks. Wasn't too jazzed about the whole possession aspect Marionette did. Something about the makeup. You know, it was a cool movie. I think it goes here. The FNAF fans, they're dogging on it. The critics, they also are dogging on it. But I thought it was very representative of FNAF as in general. Now, Iron Lung's the last one. Very atmospheric, cosmic horror. Wasn't really into the game, but knew the mechanics. X-ray mechanic was really cool to me. I liked how it was mostly all contained in the sub. If I had to nitpick the sound at points, it was low, but not like, oh man, horror movie, you know, hard to hear, but like quiet, actually hard to hear. This is also going here. If I had why am I spelling it wrong? If I had control of Iron Lung, I wished there was more like scenes where we had less of the monster. You know, people online, they're like, we need more of the monster. I want less of that monster. I want more of the cosmic horror. That's my 2 cents. But it's still a really good movie. There's a case to be made where it's like up here in like the world-changing movies. I don't know, but I feel like it's here for me. Yeah. But that's all the movies for today. What did you think of all these movies? Have you seen them all? I doubt it. But join me next time where we talk about even more. Bye-bye.